All right, let's talk about something really new. I want you to forget everything you think you know about business software, just for a minute. We're not talking about some minor update here. We are talking about giving your ERP system a brain, a totally new kind of intelligence that's going to change how your business operates from the inside out.
And this quote right here, it hits the nail on the head. We are moving way beyond those rigid, pre-programmed tasks of the past. These new AI agents, well, they don't just follow a script. They think, they reason over your data, and what's most important, they collaborate with you. And that right there changes the entire game.
So what does this shift actually look like in the real world? Well, it means we're finally leaving behind that old, clunky, rigid world of automation, and we're stepping into a completely new era of intelligent, truly flexible assistance.
This comparison really shows it perfectly. On the left, you've got traditional automation. Think of it like a robot in a factory that's programmed to follow one exact path. If something unexpected gets in its way, a box is out of place, it just stops, it breaks. But on the right, well, that's the AI agent. It's totally different. It doesn't have a rigid path. It has a goal. It can navigate around those unexpected obstacles. It can adapt to the real-world chaos of business in a way that old hard-coded logic just never could.
So, with that in mind, let's properly introduce this new member of your team. And I really want you to think of it less like a piece of software or a tool and more like a digital apprentice, someone who's ready to learn the ropes of your unique business.
Okay, so here's the core idea. The key phrases to focus on here are interprets high-level goals and natural language. Now, what does that actually mean? It means you don't program it with lines of code. You instruct it with plain, simple English. You tell it what you want to accomplish, and the agent itself figures out how to do it inside your ERP system. In this case, Business Central. And listen, this isn't just some theory. This stuff is real. Take the payables agent, for example. It can literally grab a vendor invoice from an email, read it, and match it to a purchase order, all automatically. But you know what's really exciting? It's that last bullet point, custom agents. The idea that you can build a specialized AI teammate for whatever unique, complex process your business relies on, that's a game changer.
Okay, but we have to talk about control, because this is absolutely crucial. You are always in the driver's seat. For any sensitive operation, like a big payment or a major inventory adjustment, the agent stops. It asks for your approval. Every single action is logged. Every decision is traceable. This human-in-the-loop design is so important because it means you get all the power of AI, but with complete transparency and total accountability.
So you're probably wondering, how do we even start building these digital teammates? Well, it all begins in a safe, completely controlled environment. A prototyping sandbox where you can play, experiment, and build without any risk at all to your live business data.
And what's really, really powerful here is who this toolkit is for. It's not just for the coders and developers anymore. No, it's designed for the product owners, the domain experts, the people who actually live those business processes day in and day out. It gives them the power to get their hands dirty and actually prototype the AI they know they need.
Building an agent follows this really clear 6-step life cycle. You start by creating it, then you configure its instructions, what it's allowed to do. After you activate it for testing, you get to the most important phase, iteration. This is where you test it, you refine it, and you repeat over and over until it's just right. And then finally, you graduate the prototype, which means you take everything you've learned and use it to build a robust, production-ready solution with the proper AL coding language.
So, what exactly are these instructions you're giving an agent? Well, think of it less like coding and more like writing a really good job description. You're using natural language to tell the agent its purpose, the context it needs to know, and exactly how it should behave. You're basically training it, just like you would a brand new employee.
Now, all this power is pretty useless without trust, right? That's why these agents have to operate under a very strict set of rules. We can call them the rules of engagement. This is all about responsible AI, making sure the agent does exactly what you want it to do and nothing more. And this table just lays it out so clearly. The AI development toolkit is for prototyping, for testing ideas, for validating use cases in that safe sandbox. It is absolutely 100% not for production environments. It's not for the final implementation. Think of it as your workshop, not the factory floor.
During this preview phase, it's really important to know what the guardrails are. First, like we said, agents are locked into sandbox environments. Second, they can never ever have more permissions than the person who created them. And third, and this one's pretty clever, they only see the parts of the user interface that you allow them to. It's a great way to focus the agent on its job, which reduces noise and really boosts its accuracy. It all comes down to this one really crucial security concept. The entire system is built from the ground up on the principle of least privilege. That's just a fancy way of saying you only give an agent the absolute minimum access it needs to do its job. Nothing more, nothing less.
So now that we kind of get what these agents are, how they're built, and the rules they play by, let's zoom out a bit. Where does this technology go from here? Because believe me, this is just the beginning of a much, much larger strategy.
I want you to think of the agents we're building today as the foundational layer. They're the specialists, the experts in their one domain. The long-term vision is for these specific agents to be organized or orchestrated by higher-level tools like Microsoft Copilot Studio. This is going to let you string them together to automate these incredibly complex processes that stretch across your entire suite of business applications. It's going to be amazing.
And that really brings us to the final thought. Now that you've seen what's possible, the question isn't if you'll have an AI assistant, it's what are you going to have it do? So just think about it for a second. What is that one repetitive, annoying, or time-consuming task you would hand off first to your new digital apprentice?